This is a part 2 of lesson 4.2, Math 020 Pre-Algebra, dividing fractions. In the first part of the lesson 4.2, we reviewed how to multiply fractions. The second part of this lesson is going to focus on, we're focusing on dividing fractions. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to start with defining the rule, how to divide fractions. Okay. Our rule for fraction division says that if you have two fractions, a over b, and you're going to divide it by the second fraction, c over d, you are going to change the problem into the multiplication, and you're going to multiply the first fraction by the reciprocal of the second. Notice how the second fraction that was c over d got flipped, and now it's d over c, as well as the division changed into multiplication. So that's our rule. When dividing fractions, you keep the first fraction unchanged, you change the problem into the multiplication, and you flip the second fraction. Okay. Before we practice on division with fractions, we need to review what a reciprocal is. A reciprocal of the fraction a over b is written in the form of b over a. So basically what we're doing is we're just flipping the fraction upside down. So some of the examples of reciprocals could include 1 over 2 and 2 over 1. Oh, we can have 3 over 7 turns into 7 over 3. And if you have a whole number that you can always write, the whole number is as put in over 1, 3 over 1, will change into 1 over 3. So those are the most common cases of your reciprocals. So let's go ahead and look at our set of problems that we are going to be doing today. We only have 5 problems to practice on, and they're getting progressively harder as we work on them. So the first one, part A, you have 3 over 4, 3/4, divided by 2 over 3. So pretty straightforward. We're going to keep the first one, 3 over 4, change the problem to multiplication, and then flip the second fraction. So 2 over 3 becomes 3 over 2. Right? Just double check that you do not have anything in common. 3 does not have any multiples of 3 on the bottom. Neither does anything else that could be reduced or canceled before we do multiplication. So we just multiply the numerators, 3 times 3, which will give you 9, and 4 times 2 is 8. So the final answer for this problem is 9 over 8. Moving on to the second problem. Your second problem states that you have 9 over 10 divided by negative 9 over 2. The first step in this problem, in solving this problem, is deciding on the sign for the answer. You are dividing positive number by a negative number, so the answer is going to be negative. So let's go ahead and place the negative sign in the answer, and then let's go ahead and do the division. So you have, for division, you keep the first fraction, change your division into multiplication, and flip the second fraction over. Okay. Then take a look around and see, you see that you have 9 on top and 9 on the bottom. They will cancel each other, and then you will have 2 over 10. Okay. You need to double check that you can still reduce it. 2 goes into 10 5 times. You can rewrite 2 over 10 as 2, and then 5 times 2. So that means you have 2 on top, 2 on the bottom. So you would reduce that to 1 over 5, and that would be your final official answer. Negative 1 over 5. Remember, we had the negative sign that we placed there before, and we've got our answer. So let's go ahead and look at the next problem, part C. You have 3/4 divided by negative 12. So here we have a situation where we are using fractions and a whole number. The whole number we are going to turn into a fraction by placing it over 1. But first, let's go ahead and place the sign for our answer. So we're going to have negative, because you have positive and a negative, so the answer is going to be negative. And then the second step is we're going to place negative 12 over 1. So now we have two fractions, 3/4 and 12 over 1. So now we can apply our rule. Keep the first fraction, change to multiplication, flip the second fraction, right? And before you start multiplying, let's see if anything could be reduced. So what I can do is I can say that on top I have 3 times 1, and on the bottom I have 4 times, and I can represent 12 as 3 times 4. So that way I can cancel the 3's, and I have 1 on top and 4 times 4 on the bottom, which gives me 1 over 16. Right, so I come up back to my original problem. I know that I need to have a negative sign for the answer, and I place the numerical answer here, negative 1 over 16. Moving on to the next two problems. Here we have repeated division. So what we're going to do is we are going to do the first two, and then we will do the last division. But the general rule, what we can apply is keep the first fraction and flip all the other fractions over. So we're going to do the answer. Let's decide on the sign for the answer. It's going to be a negative because you have positive, negative, positive, so only one negative. So the answer is negative. So let's go ahead and rewrite this as a multiplication. So we have 1 over 2 times 3 over 4 times 8 over 7. Because every time you divide, you're going to flip the fraction. The only one that stays intact is the first fraction. Everything else gets to be a reciprocal. So let's see what we have. We have 1, 3, and 8 in the numerator on top. We have 2, 4, 7 on the bottom. I can represent 8 as 4 times 2. So here I have 1 times 3. Now 8 is going to be 4 times 2. And on the bottom I have 2 times 4 times 7. Okay. Now I have a couple of things that I can cancel out. I will cancel out 4's and 2's. And all I have left is the 3 on top and 7 on the bottom. So I have 3 over 7. I come up to my original problem. I see that I already placed my negative sign, so the official answer, the final answer is negative 3 over 7. The last problem in this set is part E, 11 over 2. 11 over 2 divided by 7 over 8 times 2 over 11. All right, so we're going to keep 11 over 2. We're going to change the division into multiplication, use the reciprocal of 8 over 7, and leave 2 over 11 as it is because it is being multiplied, so we do not need to change the third fraction. So let's go ahead and rewrite this problem. And a quick check for the signs of the answer. All the numbers are positive, so I don't have to worry about the sign. So I have 11 over 2 times 8 over 7 times 2 over 11. All right, so all multiplication. Let's go ahead and put it all over the same fraction bar. So 11 times 8 times 2 on top, and we have 2 times 7 times 11 on the bottom. So I have the 2 on top and 2 on the bottom. I have 11 on top, 11 on the bottom. So those cancel each other, and all I have left is 8 over 7, and that is my final answer for this problem, 8 over 7. This is the end of the lesson 4.2 recording.